it's kind of a combination of I push into it. I see if I get any bites. I see if the bites are actually real bites, like they actually want to spend money, or they're just saying nice things. And then if so, I go a little more. If not, I come back up for air, and then I survey the landscape and see if maybe it's just something else. This episode is brought to you by Smile.io, the loyalty platform trusted by thousands of the fastest growing Shopify Plus businesses to increase repeat purchases, reward VIPs, and build lasting customer relationships. Smile helps businesses become more profitable while discounting their products less. You got to be careful with the discounts. You don't want to push too hard on the discount pedal. If you're ready to turn transactional sales into lifetime customers, start building a more profitable business with Smile.io today. How's it going? I'm liking this 2-week cadence because, some weeks I definitely am like, it'd be good to pod it up, but then it's good to kind of miss it a little bit so that, like that way you're sort of like looking forward to it.
Yeah, you get to build up kind of like stuff you've seen and done too, a little bit longer.
Exactly. Versus it
nice
like
2-week sprint cadence,
Right. Right, exactly. Versus feeling like kind of like pressure. But yeah, dude, how's your week been?
It's good. This is spring break over here, so kids have been home all week.
Right.
And I actually took yesterday and today off because it's my son's birthday. So
nice. Dude.
I've been chilling today, honestly.
Oh, sweet. My wife and kids are in LA. They're visiting family right now. So
nice.
Yeah, I'm flying solo for the next few days.
Flying solo.
Trying not to get in too much trouble.
Yeah.
But
so are you like at the grindstone right now, or what are you doing with your extra time?
You know what's funny is that I like yesterday I was working and then I was like, by the way, do you have a loud fidget right now or a quiet one?
Oh, no. Starting to hear do you hear this? Dang it, I thought it was quiet.
Okay. To hear something.
Back to the screwdriver.
Sorry, dude. We need to get something. Can we get Elon on this, dude? I think we need some high precision engineering because, like, by definition,
I agree.
You need a fidget to have some oomph to it in order for it to be a proper fidget. So, like,
but it has to be absolutely space age quiet.
Right. But like Play-Doh, honestly, might do the trick.
Oh, that would be good.
Yeah,
but it makes my fingers feel weird.
Okay.
I got stuff like a rock and a screwdriver. These are my space age, completely quiet.
Dude, this one time I had this friend that I met out here in my town, and he's like a super country dude, a super cool guy. I was talking to him one time about I was like, yeah, I just been feeling stressed and anxious. He's like, yeah, man, you need like a rock or some petrified wood, just to
dude.
hold on to. And I was like, when he said it, I was like, that sounded kind of like weird and new agey, but it was like, it like hit different because he's like country.
It's old knowledge.
From
the country.
Then, literally like after him say that to me, I like grabbed a rock like by my house and it just fit perfectly in my palm. And I just felt calmer holding it, dude. So I started keeping it in my car and stuff. My kids would make fun of me.
There you go. It brings you closer to the earth.
But I believe in it, yeah. So like yesterday, I was like, somewhere towards the afternoon, I was like, I thought, oh God, I got to hurry up because I got to take care of kids and do stuff. And then, and I was like, wait, I don't. I can just work all night if I want to. And I felt like this immediate, like, oh my God, like my bandwidth got doubled. And then the workday ended and I was like, all right, I'm going to do some stuff. And then I didn't do any extra work. I billed less hour. I only billed like 6.5 that day, which like a good day for me is more like 7 or 8. And then today I'm not going to get that many hours. So I'm basically not doing any extra work, but I feel like I could if I needed to. So I have this
So what do you like? Are you chilling or like working on like fun
I mean,
stuff or what?
I'm working a regular day, you know. I'm not like working double time or anything like that. If I
Nice,
had a good
nice.
solid app thing that I was working on, that's when I tend to go into overdrive. But
Yeah.
the NetSuite thing is chugging along. I've been doing some work on it for this one project. I had a couple people that seemed interested. Nobody else has really taken a solid bite. I'm not really like full speed ahead on it, but I'm ready to go if somebody pings me on it. And if so, that could be a good little product niche to
And
go
that's like
nuts on.
just like a generic NetSuite Shopify connector situation.
Well, probably something in between that and just like a code base that I can kind of like adapt somewhat easily,
Hmm.
slash maybe open source some of it, slash maybe bake some of it into Gadget, and then have more like a library that would be kind of easy to use.
Okay.
I'd probably just write a bunch of code, but I'd be able to use a bunch of, like, if I had a NetSuite integration come in the pipe, I'd just be able to reuse a lot of code and hopefully get it done pretty fast, and then start figuring out how to make it, like, productize it. But I'd need to
Yeah.
get a couple reps in before the it would really make sense.
Do you
But
have a name in
anyways,
mind yet for something like
nah,
this?
nah, I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing for it. That's just the closest idea I have. Got a few things cooking. Something will pop. Something's gonna work out, dude. We're gonna get there,
Heck
man.
yeah.
We're gonna figure something out.
I feel like
Um,
you're like on the edges of like finding out all the stuff that's interesting that isn't really supported by apps.
yeah,
And at some point, that'll be like, oh, everyone needs this thing.
yeah, exactly. It's kind of this search and discovery like phase where I forget the word for this, but it's like I go in a certain little bit of a depth and then I come back up. I don't get an idea and go, all right, I'm going to spend 6 months every day, all day building
Yeah.
it and then go find customers. It's kind of a combination of I push into it. I see if I get any bites. I see if the bites are actually real bites, like they actually want to spend money or they're just saying nice things. And then if so, I go a little more. If not, I come back up for air, and then I survey the landscape and see if maybe it's just something else. But I think something will
Interesting.
land at some point.
Is that how you've
Hopefully.
like always done it with like your previous?
Yeah, exactly like that. Like find something and iteratively spend more time on it as you get people that are customers. As you get some
That's cool.
customers.
For some reason, I've been stuck on watching documentaries about this guy who spent 7 years building a video game. And
Oh,
it's
dude.
like totally the opposite
Right.
kind of
The
like you
exact.
just
Yeah.
spend so much of your life on this thing, making like every single piece of it custom,
Yeah.
and then hopefully it
Yeah.
works.
Wait, what was that called? What was that documentary called?
There's a bunch of them, but it's for the game Animal Well, and the guy's name is Billy Basso. I just think for some reason
Okay.
it like got me really interested in like how deep he goes in building this software for so long, and
Right.
then guess it'll work.
Right. There was something I saw. I feel like it was maybe on Netflix and it was very similar, but I don't know if it was that dude, but it was somebody that
Hmm.
had made an indie game. It was like years and years and he kept iterating on it and then finally it hit and it did well. But he just I
Yeah,
mean the
there's a few of
sheer
those.
okay.
I think it's
And
cool.
just yeah, it's super cool, man. I remember being really inspired watching that. Just the sheer amount of hours that they throw in for like just the absolute love of the game. I mean, for a lot of those indie game devs, it goes nowhere. Like when it hits, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then
Um,
it's like, oh, one dude built this entire thing.
yeah,
It's very cool. Like back in the day, everyone would like to spend their life, like they would choose something that they were going to spend their whole life to
right,
work on.
right.
And it doesn't happen that much these days.
Yeah, it's kind of a beautiful thing when you see it. And then the dark side of that is when people put time into it, it goes nowhere. They get depressed, they
Yeah.
lose their job. Like because
Eh.
that like that and so much of the time society celebrates the wins and then people, so that's kind of but
Yeah,
on the
true.
flip side, when it works out, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I just
But
want the it to work out thing to happen.
yeah, yeah, not the bad stuff. So on the BFS situation, this guy Atan, Eytan, how do you pronounce that? Atan, Etan.
Yeah,
He's a
A10.
product guy at Shopify. He posted today about the Built for Shopify updates that they're going to make in response to the shenanigans that people were posting about. And
I saw that.
dude, just like Shopify, dude, they just get it. Like I honestly, like when I saw that post today, it made me so happy because honestly, I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. I was like, there's all these indie Shopify devs talking shit about how frustrated they are with Built for Shopify. And I'm like, they're not going to do anything about this, dude. And they completely did. Like, I mean, I read the thread briefly, most of it. Like, as far as what they're going to do, they're going to like loop in product managers into the review flow for certain type categories. And they're totally like going to handle it. It was cool to see that,
I saw
because,
something like if you're already in the Built for Shopify program, you'll be able to actually reply to
right,
the feedback and get to someone because before it
right,
was like a no reply
right,
email address. That's pretty cool.
right. Yeah, that seemed to be a big thing people wanted, like, which makes sense. I mean, you can't even.
Yeah, and if you've already got a Built for Shopify app, then you know what's going on. You just like obviously your feedback is probably going to be important to the team
Yeah, yeah,
or your reverse feedback or whatever it is.
yeah. So that was cool to see, dude. Like people say, like, "Oh, Shopify's going up market. They don't care about the little guys anymore." Blah blah blah. It's so not true, man. I mean, they have to deal with the enterprise side of things and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And granted, if you don't get any traction on Twitter, probably no one's, and you don't have a direct personal contact, then yeah, nobody's going to listen to you.
Hmm.
But probably, but the fact that an indie Shopify dev is able to get the traction on Twitter by posting about something like that is where the magic is. Like, however, that all bubbled up. I forget the dude's
Totally.
name, but it's the Platmart Swatches dude that we've talked about. But it's the fact that it's able to bubble up through social and then they pay attention to that that is like, it's awesome, dude. So
Yeah, I
cool.
agree. It feels like they're accessible and it's like they're weirdly accessible because they're a huge company, but they still care enough about understanding what's going on in this community sphere and adjusting based off of it, which yeah, I
Yeah.
totally agree.
Yeah. So that was cool, man. That was good to see. On the not so bright side, I got to talk about my boy Amal
Uh-oh.
in the community forums. Oh, like this dude, I think I mentioned it, but this dude replies to like every forums post. He's sort of, there's some information in his post, but he's clearly playing the volume game. He's trying to reply to as many posts as he can. So it's
Mm.
like he'll reply and it won't really answer the question. It'll somehow be related to it, but it's. So there was this post he replied on. And then when he replies, and once you've got a reply on a thing, I don't think Shopify pays attention to it because they're like, "Okay, they got a reply. They're in good shape." And then you never hear from anybody else.
Uh,
So it puts you in this like purgatory situation. So
what
he
is
did that
why
again.
is this guy posting on like, what is the goal of this?
I think he's just trying to get leads probably for work ultimately. Same reason anybody. And it's not like spam, auto spam type spam. It's like he's definitely doing it himself, but it's not answering the question. And then he also had done some AI generated replies in the past. I was like, this is an AI reply. He's like, no, it
Oh,
wasn't an AI generated reply. I just used the AI to like fix my grammar after I looked into the thing myself. I'm like, okay, whatever.
hmm.
But anyways, so I replied to the dude and I was like, hey, honestly, I'd prefer that you not reply to my posts anymore because of this and that. And because he replied on this question, didn't answer it. Okay, blah, blah. And then he replied and he was like, oh, I've never used AI, just to my grand, blah, blah. Anyways, so then I saw today that my reply got moderated and it got flagged and it got removed for not,
Here we
not
go.
not being,
The flame war has started.
yeah.
Where's
So
this
then I'm
thread
like,
going now?
fuck this guy, man. But so, but on the other hand, I don't know if me getting moderated was like organic, like maybe a moderator saw it and was like, "Hey, this guy shouldn't be telling people not to reply," or I don't know if he's found a way to get me reported by enough people. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Hmm.
So maybe I'm the asshole. It's like
A little bit of
maybe I'm
this, a
be,
little bit of that, maybe. But I mean, if
maybe
is there not a way to vote on response, like relevance or something?
I don't think there's a downvote, but there's just a
Uh,
report, and I'm like, I'm not going to report.
Gotcha.
I'm tired of it, but it's just fucking guy, man.
But yeah,
I
to your
just,
point, if you end up
I,
not getting the actual answer you need because of these like slightly off topic,
yeah,
I mean, how are they off? Like they just talk about the thing that you mentioned and don't actually give a an
they're on
answer?
topic. Like this particular one, which actually there's an interesting little nugget in here. This particular one was when you're trying to get the vaulted card against an order when you're using vaulted cards in B2B. If a customer or a company location has multiple cards, the API for it's like payment details connection on an order object gives you the vaulted cards. There's no indication of
Hmm.
which card is the one that they selected. Like when they place the
Oh,
order,
weird.
right? They picked a card, right? And so there's nothing in the docs that says which one's the default, which one they selected. So that was my question is how do you know which card they intended to use? And his reply was, you can get the payment details on the order, which was like the premise of my question. I was like, yeah, once you get the payment details on the order, which of the two
How do you figure out
cards
which
do you
one?
use? That was my question.
Mm.
And his answer was, you can get the payment details on the order. But so it turns out that, and we got some feedback, we tested this and we got a confirmation from a solutions engineer person that the first card that comes back is the one they selected. So it'll put them in the right order
Interesting. That seems
based on what
weird.
they selected.
Based on what you told me, it sounds like there's a card vault and there's an order that was placed, and you want to actually charge the card
Right,
that was picked from the vault.
right,
But in the transaction information on the order, it doesn't specifically mention the ID of the vaulted card
right,
that was used or something like that.
right,
That's weird.
right. It gives you all the vaulted cards that they have, where you would think, which I guess you might use that in case one fails, you want to try the next card.
I
But
guess, yeah.
like you could always just grab the cards from the company location if you want to try more cards. It's like an order should.
We got cards. Just so you know, we're cycling your cards.
We got your cards, man. We're gonna hit the. We're gonna be hitting cards,
We're
dude.
gonna hit
I've
the
been.
card.
We've been finally cutting over this payment processing for this thing, and so I've been running these batch jobs locally where it's like attempting charges for like up to like $16,000 at a time.
Oh,
I,
jeez.
and I haven't
Dude,
seen
card
any.
charging is so stressful.
I know, I know. And I haven't seen any payments go through for like more than a few thousand. Like I think I've seen a few for like 3, 4,000, which is kind of nuts. But all of the ones that were like over 10,000 got declined.
Oh, dang
So
it.
yeah, they're gonna have to manually reach out.
I wonder why. Maybe there's like some reputation that this company needs to get with Shopify or Stripe or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to imagine to charge that high just going through. Um, but
You're like, I understand.
like, especially on a vaulted card, like they must know if it's point of sale versus if it's like after the fact.
Gotcha.
If you need cards, let me know, man, because
Yeah, we got cards.
I got all kinds of cards. Um,
Oh,
so
I'm so happy to not be dealing with cards. Like we tried to store payment details in NetSuite and then charge the card like exactly when it was shipped,
yep,
and that was bad.
yeah, that's what we're
Like
doing.
everything would fail. Oh, in NetSuite or in Shopify?
Well in Shopify from NetSuite like events. And
Gotcha.
they were using NetSuite payments prior to this, but it was like a manual process.
Yeah,
Um,
okay. We were
yeah.
trying to do it with like an add-in bundle in NetSuite, and it like
Mm.
didn't work sometimes, and it was like so scary to deal with. payment transactions in NetSuite, where like NetSuite is the one that's doing the charge. It just was not reliable.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's gnarly.
I'm trying to get out of NetSuite. We'll see. That'll take forever.
Right. Yeah, it's going to take you some time, dude. Get onto that Good Day software.
Yeah, I'm trying to get everything, like all historical orders in a nice, like all the way back to 2015, I think is what we have right now. So we're trying to get all that stuff in Shopify and like access the location that it was purchased from, which 2015 was two ERPs ago,
Oh,
like two
wow.
order transfers ago. So that'll be fun.
That's going to be tricky. Yeah, that's going to be nasty. So I got a little tweet reply from Toby. I basically
Did you?
now, yeah, I mark my life stages now in Toby replies. Like you've got, I had my kid, got married, I had my firstborn, got my first Toby retweet. And then a few years later, I got a like, and then I got another reply. It's
Heck
always
yeah,
an
dude. What
exciting
was it
moment.
about?
I posted about this thing with Flow where it does this to me all the time, and it might have to do with having multiple windows open, where it says you're not currently on the latest version of the Flow, so you have to like
Uh,
refresh it. And so that I just posted like that's driving me crazy, and then he like replied with the eyeball emojis. So I was like, "Dang, dude, we got the big man's attention on this one."
how do you encounter that scenario?
So Paul also replied on it, and he was saying that in some cases it could be if you have two windows open, which I was like, I might have had two windows open in those cases, like two windows open where you actually have the flow canvas loaded. I was like, that could make sense. And then he was also looking into it, and he said they found like a race condition related to when you're dragging steps. And I was like, yeah, it always happens when I'm dragging steps. So
So like you might not have two tabs open, but you're dragging steps around.
yeah, yeah. You know how it is when you've seen something like 19 times in the last month, and then you're trying to remember, like, did I always have two tabs open? Like, but it slows you down because you just clicked into a run code step, you just modified some things, you close the window,
Yeah.
and then it says you're on the old version, and then you got to refresh it.
No. And you
Yeah,
lose
yeah,
all of your edits.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like
That's no
that,
good.
yeah, that drives. And then when I posted, a bunch of quite a good chunk of other people also said that they were seeing that. So hopefully we get that worked out. That was cool. But mostly, I'm just excited I got the Tobes reply.
Heck yeah. And Glenn's on there. Got
Yeah.
everybody.
Glenn popped in. We got all the head honchos on the tweet. That was exciting. Little moment, little 5 minutes of fame.
Flow
um,
is so cool, dude. I need to like find a reason to get back into Flow for something.
get in there, do some damage,
Got to run some code.
run some freaking code, dude. One little pro tip I ran into on the mutations, like if you're doing a send admin API mutation, it's nice now that they log everything. So they
Hmm.
log the mutation that you're sending and the response. But you really like when I was building one out recently, and I'm still constructing the mutation in a run code step and logging it
Hmm.
out in a run code step because when they log it, they log the escaped version. So it's like it's a
Bunch of
mutation.
slashes.
Yeah, dude, with tons of slashes in there. And I'm always like, well, I probably should be able to like parse this with my eyeballs. But
You got to get into the
like,
matrix, bro. I don't see
yeah,
slashes anymore.
yeah. I'm just not that smart. Like it just, especially like it ends up being something like you're not passing in an array of, it's like you're basically missing a couple squigglies or a couple brackets, and you're looking at a just ball of, inline escape JSON.
Slashes. You got to get a double lexical analyzer going in your brain.
Yeah. So really the only way to live is just log out the mutation in a format that you can copy paste directly into Postman.
Mm.
And that's the easiest way to just, if you hit an error, post Drop it into Postman, and you'll be able to see exactly what's going on.
But doesn't it give you the response in the log also?
It
Or
gives you the response, but I think the response was like, it was something like invalid. It was something like generic
something from
enough.
Flow that wasn't from the actual API?
I think it was from the API, but it was like invalid input path, and it gives you like the path. I think it gives you the line number or something like that of the, but
Hmm.
the line number doesn't mean anything because the mutation is condensed down. It's not it
Gotcha.
lost its
So they
nuance.
pre-process it, whereas
Yeah,
Postman keeps the lines, and you can see where the actual
yeah.
issue is.
It just makes it a lot easier to see
Gotcha.
what the hell's going on. So still useful to log some stuff out. But
Yeah, I gotta do that. Gotta get some logging done.
let's workshop this, dude. What are some things you can get your hands dirty in with Flow
Well,
for some of your meta fields, meta objects?
I've been seeing that there's metafield attention in flows, but I got to go back and see if I can get variant metafield values yet. Because I want to do some auto retiring of products after an exit date, and the exit date's on the variant metafield. What's my situation look like?
Okay. Okay. That should work. So what are you going to need a trigger on?
The trigger would probably be something like a time trigger, and then it goes through and looks for product variants that are past their exit date. But the
Okay.
last time we did that, when you do the get variant, like whatever the variant lookup is,
Hmm.
you couldn't filter it based on metafield value. So like I,
No,
I
you
would
still
want to
can't.
do, dang it,
Yeah, you still can't. You could filter products on the variant meta fields like using a collection, but then you'd have to
yeah.
iterate over the variants and figure out what was what.
When are variants going to be first class citizens? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, dude,
Variants
that's
need media galleries. Variants need their meta fields to be available. I need some
right.
more variant stuff, man.
Indexable.
Indexable. Let me see which variants are past their exit date so I can shut them down.
Yeah. But how many variants do you typically have on products? Because you might just be able to iterate over those bad boys.
Oh yeah, but then I would have to loop through every product, right? Because it's not at the like the exit date's not at the product level. It would be like we have a color that's no longer available, and so
Well, you
that
could, I
it's
think
only
you
that
could,
variant.
yeah, I think you could filter on the variant meta field at the product level, but then you'd still have, it would pull up any product that had at least one variant with that meta field value.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe that's a shot. Maybe that's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I was thinking the trigger would just be like we run through this once a day or twice a day or something,
Yeah.
and go through and find variants that are past
Yeah.
their exit date.
Yeah. Dude, that would be a perfect, if there was a hackathon at Editions, that'd be a perfect little hackathon thing.
Yeah, give me access to the private APIs and let me do some stuff, and then you'll release them to the public. You know they got the ability to do it. It's probably a performance issue. Just give them to me for a little bit. I'll test it out.
Well,
We need
actually,
to
yeah. I
automate
mean,
everything.
I don't think they're indexing at the variant level because it's probably just too expensive.
Maybe, but they're still metafields, so they're somewhere. Even if they're not attached to variants and they have a reference to a variant, just like give me a way to get all of the product variant metafields that are past a certain date, and then I'll do the work to go back and find the product or the variant. It's fine.
Yeah.
That seems reasonable,
Okay.
right? Right,
Well,
Shopify?
I mean, yeah, I don't think they're indexed anywhere. Like they're just.
Rude. They're available sometimes. I feel like sometimes you can get at variant metafields, but I don't know. I should complain about it on Twitter more.
Yeah, dude, you got to go a little nuts, man. I
Got to get
recommend
my.
saying something to the effect of "You're going to claw your own eyes out" because that works
That's
for
what
me.
gets them.
Yeah, that worked for me. Let's try that a few more times.
I'm
Uh,
gonna literally die if I don't get this.
have you been doing any AI coding? Any cursor
Oh, I
stuff?
need to get into it. I have an idea for a cursor project. I gotta do a bunch of like data transfer stuff. We might have talked about this, but I haven't tried it yet. I'm still in like the figuring out all the stuff I gotta do phase of this data project.
Oh, okay, nice, nice. Trying to remember. It sounds vaguely familiar.
I need to update NetSuite updated their suite
Oh,
analytics
yes, that's right.
schema.
That's right.
So I got to go through every single
Oh, that's right. That's
transformation and figure out how to transform it for NetSuite 2. And
right.
we're going to take this opportunity to like try and use Shopify as our source of truth for transactions. So that's why I got to make sure all the transactions look good. It's a bit of a
Nice.
yak shaving scenario.
Yeah. Sounds like a job.
It's a job.
Yeah.
But we launched Loop a couple days ago, so we're
Oh,
live
sick.
there, which I'm pretty excited about. They
Oh,
have this
nice.
shop on store, so when you go and return an item, you can exchange it, air quotes, immediately. So like you can go and click a button and it'll take you to the website, and then you can pick the thing that you wanted to exchange it for.
Right.
Bada bing, bada boom. Once we get your thing, we'll ship out the new thing. So hopefully we'll see some usage out of that.
That's cool. How many returns do you get? Was it a couple a day type of thing, or is it like?
No, it's a lot.
Oh, okay.
It's more than you would expect, I think. There's a lot of people who like want to do a different size if they bought apparel
Right.
or they wanted a different color. But yeah, I mean just based on order volume, it's um,
Decent
I don't know.
chunk.
Well, yeah, a pretty decent chunk.
Nice.
And then they have like Happy Returns sends you like a big pallet of a box of stuff that they've gotten from all of their return bars, and so you have to like open that box up and scan the QR code that's on the bag, and we've already
Mm.
put the bag QR code in NetSuite somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like a whole thing.
Yeah. So they send them to you in bulk. They send you all the returns in
Yeah.
batches. Oh, that's cool.
Yep. They have a webhook for like when they're sending out a new shipment, so we listen for the webhook and do stuff in NetSuite to make sure the bag codes are on the RMAs, so when someone scans it, it pulls up and all that
Oh, nice.
stuff.
Nice. I have this workflow for the cursor coding I've been doing where like I basically like on this code base, which is a little complicated, it doesn't really get it right in one shot anymore. So, and
Mm.
also I was having to do a lot of refactoring because I was realizing I need to clean some of the code up. So that makes it even worse because if it doesn't like if the code base isn't consistent, then it doesn't know like, okay, always use this class for an order or always store data on the class, in this way,
Mm.
whatever.
Like
So anyways,
the way that you do things as
yeah,
just a like
yes,
convention or something.
yeah. Like now that I've gotten a little more consistent, it'll follow like those patterns pretty easily. But still, basically, like what I do is I'll give it a prompt and then I'll go through, I'll like read. So I'm kind of like reading code constantly now, which is kind of
Mm-hmm.
cool because it's kind of like when normally, like when I'm writing code, it sounds kind of silly to say, but it's like when I'm writing a bunch of code, I'm not reading code. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm just getting it to work. I'm not thinking about how readable is this, how maintainable is this. I've been horrible at like refactoring in general. Like I get the thing working and then I hope I don't have to look at it again. You know what I mean? Or you come back to it and
Yeah.
it's like kind of gnarly, but you kind of know how it works. But it's like House of Cards that eventually, the technical debt gets worse and worse. So like now I'm like, I give it a prompt, it does a bunch of shit, and then I'm reading it. I go, well, let's do this. And then I'll go to another window and I'll start writing notes. No, don't do this. No, do that. And then I'll read the whole diff. And then maybe there's three different files. And I read the diff of the three different files and I write a bunch of notes. about 6 different things to do. And then I paste that in and I let it crank. And then I'll do that several other times. And then it'll kind of get there closer and closer. And then when I'm done, I'll be like, hey, can you refactor this like whole file? And it'll just tighten things up, make nice little sub methods to like cut down on
Okay.
really long methods that are, long and convoluted. And then it's kind of cool, man. It's kind of a cool little workflow. And it's like, I feel
What
like
does
the
it
code.
do? Does it like I've been seeing things about these other thing that like index the entire code base. Does Cursor do that? Does it have this like step where it knows context across files and like, okay, what are they trying to do here? Or is it you have to tell it the file to
So,
go to?
okay. So I don't think Cursor has the same context that like the Claude terminal deal has, which
Hmm.
I just tried it. I tried the other day. Gil had posted about it. It's a command line terminal. You download it, you install it, you type Claude, it opens it up, and I'm pretty sure it indexes your whole code base. I think it's a lot better at making changes across the whole code base. Whereas
Okay.
Cursor, like it'll incrementally figure things out. Like if you go, hey, do this with an order and this with a customer, it'll like grep for certain things to find things, and then it'll like find
Hmm.
them and it'll like figure it out. But I think it's missing that index. So I think the Claude terminal is probably a lot better, but I tried it the other day. I install it. I'm like, cool. It's like pay $5 to get started. I'm like, cool. $5 will last me a couple weeks. Easy. I get in
Easy.
there. I have it do like one thing. I exit out. It charged me like 70 cents for like, so it's
What did
like,
I just changed a directory.
yeah. So it's like, it's got to be 10 times more expensive, if not more,
Interesting.
I think. Yeah.
But it must be sending a lot more context in the background then. A
Yeah,
lot
dude.
more
It's
tokens.
it's
All
it's
the
doing
tokens.
something. And it was a little bit of a scary moment for me because up until now I've been like, hey, AI is cool. I can totally afford this. It's making me way faster. And then I was like, wait a minute. If I got to start spending like $10 a day on this, I might not want to spend that. And then now all of a
Depends on
sudden
how
I'm,
powerful it makes you.
yeah, it's just,
What if it saves you an hour per day?
no,
That's
I
easy.
know.
Ten
No,
bucks
I
for an
know.
hour? Boom.
Yeah, that's true. No, it's true. I shouldn't
But
even
I
be
don't know if
thinking
it's
about it.
anywhere near that.
I mean, yeah, it depends on the type of stuff I guess you're doing, but honestly, it's probably worth it. And I think it depends. I think if you're doing stuff that's very code base wide, it probably is really worth it. I'm so used to where you're just paying a few cents here and there for everything you're doing
Yeah.
that like paying $1 for an edit seems like a bit much.
Got to pay those bots, dude.
I know, dude. I know, but it's like it's crazy because all this stuff is so insanely cheap that like what if it does get to the point where like and the funny thing is the really expensive things kind of suck. Like the $200 GPT thing kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Like but what happens when it really does cost 10 grand a month for like the thing that you really really want to be using or like or
Yeah.
$1,000 a month, you know? Like,
It's like
I'm not
it
going to be
becomes a
spending that.
utility.
Yeah.
I think it'll
Then,
become a utility.
yeah,
We'll
I mean,
see.
if they get that expensive, so hopefully the prices stay good. But
I'll have to try that out. I'm interested to see like a something that knows a bit more about what's going on.
dude, and try it for that thing you mentioned with the NetSuite thing, where I think you said you have like 100 files it needs to refactor.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I bet it'll
Yeah.
nail that. Especially if you can expense it, then you're not, it's not coming out of your pocket,
Yeah.
and it's because
That'll be
it's
worth
worth it.
like a
I
hundred
mean,
bucks, like a lot more
yeah,
than a hundred
dude,
bucks
easy.
probably.
It's just when it's my own money, I get real sensitive about it. You know?
I get that.
Yeah.
I have some stuff that's running on OpenAI credits, and I just have not looked at how many credits I have left in a long time. And
Right.
it's still going, so
Right.
it is really nice to just like have it chugging there. And I put like $50 of credits in a couple months ago or something.
Yeah, it's like insanely cheap actually. I saw that Stuart from Revo. He posts a lot about AI stuff, and he's always like, dude, our engineers are like 8 times more productive. We're cranking out code.
That's cool.
And he posted about a tool called, I think it's called Ellipsis-Dev. It was like one of those GitHub auto bots that comments on your commits or pull requests and stuff. This one project I'm on uses one. I can't remember what it's called. I think it's like something rabbit, like AI rabbit or something like that. And it kind of sucks. Like it
What
kind
is
of
it supposed to do?
well, it basically it reviews code you're committing automatically behind the scenes anytime you push to GitHub. And then it'll find problems, be like, oh, you're loading this in a loop, or you like, I don't know.
Okay.
It'll just find things, not just like syntax errors, but more advanced stuff than that. It'll be like, you're not checking for types here, or like this is inefficient, or you modified this code over here, but you should have also modified this code over there that does the same thing.
Heck yeah. I want to
But
try that.
like I've looked at a few of them and on this rabbit one, and I'm just like, man, this is garbage. So I just started ignoring them. But when I saw Stuart posted about this one, and he said like that it was great. I think he posted like this is going to replace an $80,000 junior engineer or something like that on their team. So I was like, dang, I got to try that one out. See if it's good.
Yeah, they have a pretty website, and they have a free trial.
Oh, Ellipsis?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I got to check that out.
We're always talking about AI these days, but it's what's exciting, dude.
I know, dude. Everybody's talking about AI. It's
okay. I shouldn't feel bad about it.
It's kind of crazy. Well, it's like talking about AI in general is kind of done. I mean, it's kind of abstract, and it's like everybody has a theory on it, but like,
yeah,
which I'm kind of tired of that. But when you're talking about specific tools, like that's what's cool to me. Like if there's a tool that can do something cool, then like I'm all ears.
Agreed.
I
just want my life to be better from AI stuff all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're not into the vibe coding then? You're not a vibe coder. You're not going to start a video game.
Oh God, dude. How cool would that be, man? To be able to do that? God. I would love that, dude. Make a cool $50,000 a month just vibe coding video games instead of this NetSuite bullshit.
Yeah, let's vibe code NetSuite. That sounds so horrible.
I mean, I think that like as the code base scales, like you got to pay more attention to the code because things break, weird things happen. It stops getting things right.
I agree with you though. It does feel like I'm reading code a lot more, and I wonder if that ends up improving the quality of like what you're working on overall.
Yeah.
Because you're actually spending more time like at a higher level with the code than you used to.
I really think it is. Like I'm really happy that I'm like spending so much time reading code because I'm just like I didn't read my own code, like
Yeah.
write it to get the job done, then a few months later look at it again and be like, oh God. And then try to figure it out.
I still use Claude to like help me bang out some quick Google App Script stuff.
Yeah.
Like I think that's one of the most fun things is someone's like, oh man, I wish I could do this, and I'm just like, that could probably be like a 20-minute Claude app script project, and then I just do it like before the meeting we have, and that feels pretty good.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, certain types of things is just like it's just gonna nail it. Like it doesn't have some weird code base it has to understand. I was doing these badges where you generate a badge with a certain background color and then the foreground color is white. But then I saw that some of the lighter background colors, the white text was not visible. And then this dude, Jake, he goes, oh, well, you can calculate the contrast using the hexadecimal codes. You can calculate the contrast between white and black. And I was like, oh, damn, I had no idea that was even possible. But once I knew that was possible, I prompted it and it fucking nailed it. First shot, it just mathed.
So the AI figures out the contrast, or there is a math like equation?
There's math. Yeah. There's like an equation. It converts it to RGB,
man.
And then it's like
computer people are so smart.
Yeah.
How does that even? I want to know. Now I need to know how that works.
I don't even understand it. I don't even understand like what the actual. I mean, I assume it's like if
F, like all F's means black, right? And all ones means white or something.
I
So
think
then
all
maybe
F's is
you can
white
just,
and all zeros is black.
okay. So maybe it's just a simple diff. I don't know. Now I have to look up that math.
Dude, the code had like a get luminosity function on it.
Okay, so there's
That's
some
like,
stuff going on.
there's stuff going on, dude. There's, but it was like a very computer sciencey thing, so it just nailed it,
Okay,
you know, which is
sweet.
cool. Okay, dude, discounts on product pages.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Yeah, this is the thing now. So I was
Customers want it.
customers
Customers
want
need
it.
it.
Customers got to have it. Clients need it.
Clients need
Clients
it.
demand
Galen
it.
hates it.
I think we both went through
Shopify makes
this.
it hard.
Yeah. I think we both went through the same flow recently where you're working on a discount, you
Yep.
build the discount function, and then you go, oh, they need it to show on the product page. So you go, I got to get stuff into meta fields quick,
Fire them
right?
up.
Fire up some meta fields. Is that what you ended up doing on that one that you were telling me about that you were working on a discount function and then,
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't. We were working with a discount app, and I had to like request, like, hey, is there any way to get this to show up on the PLP and PDP?
right,
And we started working on it together for a little bit, and it wasn't reliable. So I went ahead and did like a pre-calculated price on a variant meta field and just hooked that into like the calculation for the compare at price and all that stuff on the cart and PLP
right,
and PDP and switching swatches and yada yada yada. So that
right,
all just had to live on a variant meta field.
right. Yeah, dude. I was talking to the client about it after I'd done the discount function. I was all happy with myself. And then it was just this throwaway last minute question. I was like, oh, yeah, by the way, you know this isn't going to show on the product page, right? That's not a problem. And then they're like, oh, no, it has to show on the product page.
The worst of
and
problems.
and so then I'm just like, okay. And then I talked to my other, the agency client about it. He's like, what do you mean they don't show? Why don't discounts show up on the product page in Shopify by default? And I'm
Hmm.
like, I don't know. I don't know why that's not like more of a thing, but it just it just isn't. So I don't
It
know if
is a
there's
thing.
yeah. So I don't know if that's something that maybe that's a good app to work on is like getting those discounts onto product pages. But um,
Yeah, it's one of those things though that like it feels like every merchant expects it to be a thing, but
right,
every discount app does not do it out of the box, and it's like something that you have to set up. And maybe it's just because Shopify already has this compare at price thing that's very deeply built into the default themes. But yeah,
right,
it's like people want automatic discounts to show up before someone puts it in the cart. It just makes
right.
sense.
There is a Twitter character named Axel Key that has a discount app called Yagi Automatic Discount Helper.
Mm,
And it does exactly this. It displays the discount on the front end, but it only works for like some specific native Shopify discounts, like a percent off, just like a basic percent off. And
like
maybe,
if you were to have a coupon or
mm,
something,
I think it's an
or if
automatic.
you already had the coupon.
I
Okay,
think it's an automatic discount, so it's not a coupon code, but it just like I think it only works off of like percentage discounts
gotcha.
versus like the one like I have this custom discount function that it wouldn't tie into that because it's a custom discount function and if you're
You need
using
to
a
have an item in a cart to get the discount, right?
yeah you got to have an item in the cart and which their app would work for that if you're using a native Shopify discount with like a percent off then it would work for that. But if you're doing a more complicated discount with like another discount app or a custom discount, then it's not going to hook into that. And then I have like different price tiers for different customers, so it's not going to handle that as well. So
Yeah. So it seems like you have two options. You create a fake draft order behind the scenes and just see what happens with the
Right.
discount on the item given the context, or
Right.
you know what your options are and you pre-calculate it based on the information that you have outside
Right.
of the cart.
Right. So I ended up going that route. I ended up just creating a meta object for the promos, and then I'm going to go off and recalculate my variant price meta fields based off of those promo meta objects. The promo meta
Mm,
object will have the percent off in the collections, and
okay.
then I'll go off and have a background job that'll calculate the variant meta field prices. But I really wanted it to work out of discounts, because then it could,
Yeah.
support other types of discounts. It could stack with other types of discounts. That's sort of like the right way to do it. But it's like, it's so much heavier to have to, and it's not just one draft order. I'd have to have like 10 for different customer types, I
Mm.
think, would have to have their own draft order per
Don't
each
you still have that
product.
problem with your meta field?
No, because all I do with the
One meta
meta
field per group?
well, all I do with the meta field, like I have on the variant, I have a meta field with like 10 price points. Now
Gotcha.
the price that any one customer is going to get is dependent on meta fields on the customer or on the company.
Okay.
But they're always going to get one of those 10 price points on the variant. So if I know it's a 25% off discount, all I got to do is update those 10 price points on the variant and I'm done when I just do it that way.
Gotcha.
So that's how I ended up doing it. It's just like faster, but I would have liked to have done something with actual discounts, and it just
Yeah.
kind of heavy to have to.
So do you replace that on the front end with JavaScript, like an Ajax call?
Well, we already have some stuff on the front end that looks at meta
Oh, it's in
fields.
Liquid. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's in the meta field.
Meta
Okay.
fields are liquid, so we have some stuff that looks at those. So I'm gonna have it look at
Gotcha.
these promo prices. But yeah, I mean, it seems like this is a problem that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
So it's another
Variants
app
and
opportunity.
discounts. What's coming up? This summer editions? Yeah. Summer
Hook it up.
editions would be so boring if you gave me some variant metafield stuff.
Yeah, that'd be super boring. I mean, I guess this is probably another case of like variant indexing because
Right.
if they could index the discounted price points on variant, then that's what they'd need to render it on the product page.
I mean, I feel like what would be nice is if there was a blessed way to run a discount function in a test scenario. Like tell me if this would be discounted if I put it in my cart based on everything that's going on right now.
Right, like other than having to spin up a whole ass draft order,
Yeah,
like a little shortcut that could run quickly.
yeah. And you wouldn't have to like mess with their cart or whatever. That'd be nice.
Yeah, because you'd have to do these draft orders and then delete them. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but
Right.
I mean,
Is
I
that
guess
what people do? Did you figure out what the thing is that people do to get it to work?
I I don't know exactly what people. I don't know exactly how people handle this. I don't think the
Because I
draft
looked
order
and it
thing is
didn't seem
good.
like there's a way, like, it didn't seem like there's a way for you to test a discount code's impact. But I just like very briefly looked at the APIs the other night.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing a draft order is the only way to do it. I haven't
Or maybe
checked
you
exactly.
create a cart. I wonder if you can create a cart, like a guest cart, and see what happens in the cart.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, I'd have to look at that. I don't think there's a lot of cart admin APIs because I know I was looking to see if there's a way to fetch carts with the admin API, and there wasn't. I don't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we wanted to see if we could let them when they were impersonating a customer. We wanted to see if we could let them fetch a cart so that they could see their cart, but I don't think that exists.
There's a storefront cart, but maybe not an admin cart.
Yeah, just on the storefront.
Cart transform API. That'd be cool. That would probably be the way to do it.
Well, the cart transform is just like a function that runs in that, like you can't do a cart transform API from the admin API. That just runs
Gotcha.
whenever,
In the
whenever,
background when it
yeah,
needs it, kind of like
yeah,
discount functions.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And then our last thing, app of the week.
Brr, brr,
There's,
brr, brr.
hey, what happened to your little sound effect thing, dude?
This one, we haven't had any sad things yet.
You had the whole Amal situation. That was
Oh
highly
yeah,
sad and
that
disturbing.
guy.
um, so Dinosaur Collections gives you like lets you, I believe, as
Dinosaur.
Jake was saying that it lets you define arbitrary collections with like you can't combine and or operations when you're defining a collection. Um,
Hmm.
so I think it lets you do that, and then it lets you sort them in various ways. And there's just the developer's dude named Wade. He's a Twitter guy, like an indie Twitter guy. So,
Cool.
because yeah, I was thinking
Does
about
it support
collections.
variants?
I think yeah, I think it probably that's a good question. Well, I guess I mean, the collections are going to always have to be at the product level, but I wonder if
Yeah.
it has some smart variant support. But when I was looking at this collection targeting and discount stuff, I was thinking like, oh, maybe it'd be cool to have a discount app that you could define arbitrary discounts and show them on the product page. And then I was like,
Hmm.
you could also have a similar logic for collections to have like arbitrary logic for collections, and then just calculate those behind the scenes in a background job. And then Jake was like, oh, that's what Dinosaur does. So
Oh, it helps
friggin'
with discounts,
friggin'
or
no,
it
no,
does the background stuff with collections.
with
Gotcha.
collections, yeah, yeah. I just in my head the collection thing is similar to the discount thing
Yeah.
because you've got
They
like
kind of like a lot of the time when you're trying to make discounts, it would be helpful to just have stuff in a collection and then apply the discount to the collection.
yeah, yeah, and it's a similar type of thing where you gotta calculate like an
Mm.
association in the background. So that seems like a cool app. But yeah, dude, I think that about does it.
About
The
does it? Anything else on the list here, mate?